Hello YouTube, this is Todd Martin from Solid Shell Security, and the last video I did was the video where I just screwed around with a little bit of math. And as you guys saw, I had a little bit of an issue compiling this one at first, running it through here, this check module, and it said that the library of SciPy, which is imported, doesn't exist. Let me run the module, not run the shell, so that way you can see that. So it says no module named SciPy. That is not the case. SciPy is on my computer. It's in my Python interpreter. As you can see in the last video, I did get it to work, but I had to do a little bit of hacking per se. I ran out of here. Of course, the first time I ran it, it spit out a bunch of these errors, but the important part, I said to go back here. Alright, this is what I'm going to highlight. It spit out no matching architecture in universal wrapper. So then, as you guys saw in that video if you watched it, I did a simple little line of code to fix that. Uh-oh, I typed in the architecture wrong. And it works fine, and it gave me the gradient and everything. The slope was 6.1. Alright, explaining this. Alright, the headache, this mostly goes with C and Python. It's usually not a big deal, except whenever you get into graphical user interface and graphics. A lot of times in like C and assembly, you will have to really pay attention to system architecture. I'm assuming anybody who is watching this video knows what the difference between 32-bit and 64-bit. It basically boils down to this. It's different computer processor architectures. i386 is usually a 32-bit architecture, then x64 is like a 64-bit, or I think x86 is also a 32-bit architecture also. For some reason, a lot of programs or a lot of libraries that do graphical stuff require it to be ran in a 32-bit architecture. So for a lot of you guys who are going, well, 32-bit's dying technology now. No, it's not, because for some reason the developers of these libraries are still making these libraries so that way it only works in 32-bit. I know a couple years ago, whenever I first started messing around with servers for fun, like I had a little Dell machine in my room that was all beat to hell. I had a Linux HTTP server running Apache, of course, and it was running a 64-bit operating system. Well, Apache didn't like 64-bit operating system. It said it had to be 32-bit. So you just go into the configuration files and you edit it, and everything's all good. So 32-bit there's still some use, especially whenever it comes to the graphical user interface. So whenever you're programming, very much keep in mind of, especially whenever you're doing GUIs, whenever you get into GUI programming, which I would really like to start making videos on. Not right at this moment though. GUIs often require them to be run on a 32-bit platform. Now if you're running a 64-bit platform, it's no big deal. You just do a simple little hack like this where you do ARC. I'm not too sure how to do it in Windows, but in Unix, Mac, Linux, BSD, it's arch, short for architecture, hyphen, and then the architecture, which 32-bit would be i386. And then you can run the Python interpreter, and you're going to tell it to interpret the Python source file. Another program I can show you that with is a program I made a while back. Whenever I signed my contract for the Navy, I made this really simple little program. As you can see, I got no matching architecture, but I run it in a different architecture, and it runs fine. And and that's one thing I have to fix about this program. How does it actually work? Yeah. Alright, so that's just a little bit about architecture and programming, and whenever you do get to that stage where you do graphical user interface programming, making GUIs and plots and charts and all that crazy stuff, you do have to know to change the architecture. So that's it for this video.